$0 to $2,500, the financial cost of adopting each child through the foster care system. I'm your host, Marcy Bursack, and I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to find more forever families. In fact, one for each child waiting in the foster care system. After blogging my journey adopting a pair of siblings, I realized that I knew countless people who had a desire to adopt, but believed it was too expensive. So I wrote a book for adults, The Forgotten Adoption Option. I wrote a book for children, Are You a Forever Family? And I started this podcast. I am so delighted that you are tuning in. In season 2, I'm dropping monthly episodes to teach you how to adopt those U.S. children who are waiting for you in the foster care system. You might also enjoy the personal stories of adoptive parents and adopted children that I featured in season 1. Now, whether right now feels like the right time, the process feels overwhelming, or someone quickly comes to mind to share this with, I am here for you. I am America's foster care adoption mentor, and I'm eager to help you fulfill a child's dream of having their forever family. Welcome to the Forgotten Adoption Option podcast. In this episode, you'll learn how to see professional photographs and bios of children waiting to be adopted through foster care so that you can consider adopting these children and also share this resource with those you know who are interested in adoption. I am joined today by Matthew Streb, who co-founded the Heart Gallery of America. Matthew has a day job and runs Heart Gallery of America as a passion project. I'll let you tell him more about that here soon. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you, Marcy. It's great to be here.
So excited to have you. Matthew and I got connected through one of my previous podcast guests, Sherry Hersey. And listeners, you might recall Sherry. She's the creator, co-writer, and star of the movie Lily's Light. And Sherry's friend, Diane Granito, and Matthew actually co-founded the Heart Gallery of America. So it's like this incredible web of people wanting to help waiting children, which is awesome. Matthew, why don't we start off with what is the Heart Gallery of America and what led you to co-found this project?
Right. So the Heart Gallery is a platform to allow children to advocate on their own behalf through professional pictures, photographs that are taken. Basically, we employ volunteer photographers, and these are photographers that are curated, so we don't just take anyone. They have to actually be making a living doing photography. And what happens is we organize a meetup between the foster child, the child that's up for adoption, and the photographer. And what we found out is that the photographer, through a quick interview and through a location that meets the personality of the child, they were actually able to capture the character and spirit of the child through a photograph. And then we put that with a bio, an honest bio, and then we display those in a public space. So it used to be we would do like hard displays, but now we do a lot of it through digital, whether it's Facebook or website, Instagram, all the different platforms. And we found that the child is the best advocate for themselves. And by doing that, we've seen an increase of about 25% in adoption rates across the country where a Heart Gallery exists. And these are the children, the Heart Gallery focuses on those children that are more difficult. Maybe they're older, they're part of a sibling group or a sibling group. They may have a behavioral issue, a medical issue. These are the children that, like you said in your organization, the forgotten children. I hate to use that word, but so that's what makes it so miraculous, is that we're actually getting children that but have been in the system for a while or languished, and we're able to help them, and they're able to help themselves. So that's the Heart Gallery. And then I got involved. I was actually part of I even go back to maybe 25, 30 years. My wife and I were having some difficulties conceiving our second child, and we looked at adoption as an option. And we went down the path, and it was so complicated. And we looked at the pictures. They were like little black and white, snapshots, like passport photos, and it was just so underwhelming. We kind of put that to the side, to be honest. And then ultimately God blessed us with the second child naturally. But I put that in my, I put that experience in my memory. And then I'm in the media entertainment broadcast business. So I understand the power of an image. And so combining those two things together, and then being part of a church mission group, I was part of a special projects group, but we had no project. At the time I was involved in color correction, which is really focusing on image. So anyway, so I was part of this church group. We were in the special projects of a special project. We had no project. And I was flying back and forth at the time on an airplane flight. And I saw an ABC 2020 segment. This is, 15, 20 years ago. And I saw Diane Granito talking about the Heart Gallery. And that combined with my experience with adoption, and then knowing that the power of an image could work, I called Diane and I said, Diane, I'd like to start the Heart Gallery in South Florida, Broward County. And I asked her, what do I need to do that? And she said, I'll help you, but you need money. Money is what she told me. So it was funding, so it was, and also I went down and started this journey with Diane. At the time, there were a couple of Heart Galleries around the country. And so Broward County, Heart Gallery is still going strong. 15 years later, which is something I'm excited about. And in the meantime, Diane and I co-founded the Heart Gallery of America. And today there's about 80 plus Heart Galleries around the country. It ebbs and flows. And US and Canada. Canada has 7 Heart Galleries, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
And the Heart Galleries affect about 7,000 or 8,000 adoptions a year. We employ anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 volunteer photographers across the country, and probably 20,000 volunteers participate in some form or fashion. So it's exciting. Yeah.
It is so exciting. Well, and to just repeat what you said, there's a 25% increase as a result of this, which is incredible.
Right.
And there's 80 around, but I'm wondering, you helped start the one for your local area, and you mentioned there was a shift. There was a shift of it used to be, because I think I even saw one once at some church event where it was like a display of kids and pictures, and it was kids that were waiting to be adopted. And you guys have kind of digitized that or gone more electronic. So if there's someone listening right now that's like, I don't think my community has this, I want to get started, is your first answer still funding, or is it shifted a little bit because of the virtual age we're in?
Yeah, well, we have a path now where the Heart Gallery of America will actually work with them to piggyback our 501c3 combined with our web platform. So you don't really need anything to get started. We have all the legal documents. We basically allocate Heart Gallery. We own the trademark and everything, because some people 10 plus years ago, some people were using it for their personal advantage. So we had to go trademark it and all that good stuff. So we did all of that. So all they need to do is contact me directly, and we will work with them to get them set up. Like you said, it's not as intensive financially as it was before. And what they have to do is establish a relationship with their local child welfare office, and also start recruiting photographers. So if they do those two things, then we can make the rest happen. The only caveat is that if there's already a Heart Gallery in their area geographically, then we wouldn't be able to do it, because we try to only have one Heart Gallery in each area, because the Child Welfare Agency doesn't want competing interests on the Heart Gallery.
Right. But in case there already is one, someone could start helping.
If there already is one, then I can put them in touch with that Heart Gallery.
That's great.
Immediately.
So Matthew, that's incredible. Some of the listeners see this on social, and there's like a blurb. I'll put your contact information, but people that are only hearing this, how do they contact you?
They can contact me at info@heartgallerysarasota.org.
Easy. info@heartgallerysarasota.org. This is incredible stuff. So then, Matthew, what quality?
Or they can call me too. That's fine. And I'll give you my number. That's 954-850-6606.
And they can probably text that number too, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Look at you. Very accessible. There you go.
Yes.
Everyone can contact Matthew. I hope your phone blows up as a result of this.
Me too.
Amazing. So I'm curious, what qualifies then a child or sibling group to be included in the Heart Gallery of America?
Well, so it's really the heart galleries that are local because it's the child welfare agencies that are the guardians of those children. So they have a case manager that's assigned to that child. So that's the path you have to work through. But basically, a child, and if you think about it, a child is really they agree and they decide that they want to be in the heart gallery. And think about it from a child's perspective. They're really taking a risk because picture's going to be out there. We've seen many cases where other classmates find out about it. They make fun of them. It's not a big downside, but these kids really want to be adopted, I guess, and they're willing to put their name and their face out there, and I think they're taking the risk. It doesn't happen that often, but I mean, it is a risk, especially teenagers. They're sensitive to their all those different, teenage things, I guess you say.
Yeah.
But basically, no, they all agree to be in the heart gallery. So they want to be adopted, and they're willing to take that risk and put themselves out there so that they could be adopted.
So the path that got them there was, this is a child or sibling group that went into foster care. They tried to reunify. That didn't work. So therefore, now the children legally are available for adoption. And so it's among those kids that can select or choose if their local area has one, which is why we need more heart galleries.
Right.
And they can choose to be included to have that help to find a forever family.
Correct. I mean, think about it. I mean, if you're only relying on your local agency to be adopted and not that many, that means that the family has to be proactive to come into the welfare agency ecosystem and then start looking through their library of children available. This is a whole different approach. We're pushing these kids out into the world because these children are all available on the Heart Gallery of America. They're available through Facebook, all the different Instagram, those websites. And generally when, as Marcy, you adopted some children, that you're out once you make that decision. You're on a quest to search to find all the different kids that are available that might fit into your family dynamic. So exactly. Why wouldn't you want to have more opportunity by being out there, right? So that's because nowadays, adoptions happen across county and state lines all the time. That's not an impediment anymore.
I love that you pointed that out because there's a family that I've been mentoring privately because this is such a private kind of process that people don't like telling the world, hey, I'm doing this until they know for sure what they're doing.
Right.
And they recently just asked me about that because they are in Missouri and we're looking at Arkansas. And so there were some questions, but you're right. Like that interstate adoption with kids in foster care can be more common today than it was a while back. So in terms of how listeners can help the children that are included in the Heart Gallery of America, you already told us about they can actually start their own heart gallery. They can also, if they're feeling called to adopt, like they can go online and look at these profiles of children and then go through the process to get licensed and actually adopt them, right?
Correct.
And then what other things can they do to help the kids?
Well, I'm the president of the Heart Gallery of Sarasota. So we do a couple of other things that we think are important. One is, most people don't know this, but when a child is removed from their home, they're given a trash bag, basically. And so what we've done is we've found a way to engage our faith-based community to do luggage drives. So what we do is we actually go into the churches and temples and we engage the church, and then they set up these luggage drives, and it's a great way for us to socialize with faith-based community. That number one, you're providing a piece of luggage and then there's stuff that goes inside the luggage, and that's a whole nother thing. But then the removal officers are given this luggage, so when they go remove the child, they're actually given a piece of luggage and they can put their stuff in because they may not come back. They don't know.
Right. And I love the dignity in that, Matthew.
Exactly.
I remember, and my kids and I have actually recently talked about this because they did come to us with giant black trash bags, and they were so young that they don't even recall that part of the journey. But the dignity that you get when you said you were removed, but we know when a child service agency person goes and takes a child or a sibling group from the biological family, they're trying to take the child with some things, right? And it seems fast to use a trash bag, with the dignity and the value and the respect that it shows to the child and the children to have a suitcase. Like, that's a whole different level of like, this is planned. And I feel like it even breeds a sense of like, it's going to be safe because,
Right.
You're packing your things to go somewhere.
Well, not to mention, inside of there, we usually have a note, a prayer that's from one of the luggage people, the church. There's a stuffed animal, depending on the age of the child. There might be a pillow. There's stuff inside of there that's going to make them more comfortable. I mean, and this is their piece. This is their luggage. This is theirs. They own it. So it's not, it's not temporary. They get that, and they're going to keep that through their journey. So, but the most important part of it, actually, that's one part, but inside of the church community, the faith-based community, as part of this luggage drive, we're engaging with typically with their youth programs, with their missions committees, with the church congregation all together. And we're basically able to work with the pastors to educate the congregation about foster care and adoption. And it really has opened us up to a whole new world of potential volunteers, potential foster parents, potential adoptive parents. And we found over the years that about 70+% of the adoptive parents come from the faith-based community. So that this is a critical component. The other thing we've done is we've also taken notice of those that age out. We're not always successful in getting children adopted. So we actually have like a little graduation party for them. We celebrate the fact that they've moving out of the foster care system and into the independent living. And we try to make them feel good that people do actually care about them, and that there's that there's people that are, that a lot of these kids don't think about it. A lot of them don't ever have birthday parties. They don't ever have. There's no parent there or family there to celebrate the fact that they've graduated from high school. And so this is another thing that we've done with the aging out group when we're not successful in getting them adopted. So
that's so beautiful. Yeah. And I also, what I think is so neat about your story, Matthew, is the beauty of you kind of looked into the world of adoption, foster care adoption, and then that wasn't the path for you to take as a family. But you said earlier, what was it, 6,000 to 7,000 kids a year are adopted?
Well, that's through the Heart Gallery, but I mean, yeah, annually there's more, there's a lot more that are adopted every year. So,
right. But Matthew, like the way that, you could have maybe adopted, I don't know, a group of kids, right? Which is very admirable. I've done that, right? Like it's very helpful, and kids benefit so richly. But for the way that you've taken your passion and not just said, well, that was kind of a season of my life, but you've really devoted time, energy, creativity, strategy, and the just scaled effort of how many kids have been helped is so amazing, Matthew.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, the reason I'm so engaged is because this works. It really works. So
yeah, well, we need someone to do the work. So I'm grateful that you are. And it's cool too, because I want to point out for listeners, because I know some people listening are like, well, I know someone that has adopted through foster care, or someone's in mind that I'm going to share this with. And I really appreciate those listeners who are passing things around. And some people are listening and thinking, this is not for me. I'm just curious. And it's encouraging for Matthew, for you to share your story, that it's like, it's not for you. And that's okay. I have a person on my board, same thing. And it's like, you can still make an incredible impact for children in foster care by getting involved in a way that does make sense for you. So I love the angle of your story, and that you've shared that so candidly. And so as you kind of talked through, countless kids have been adopted, and you've been responsible for connecting so many children with their forever family. Do you have a story in mind that you could share with us about a child that was, or even a sibling group that was waiting to be adopted, and kind of how the Heart Gallery played a role in that, in them finding their forever family?
Yeah, there's a couple of them that stick in mind. First of all, Audrey, she was the first girl. She had just a beautiful picture, and she was the first girl that was adopted through the Heart Gallery that I was involved with. So that was a huge impact. Had a huge impact on me.
How old was she?
She was 13. and she actually went up to a family in New York. And then the other one was there was a young boy that was disabled. He was non-communicative, and he was adopted. It was amazing. Yeah. So someone that had the skill set, the nursing skill set, was able to, took that on as a giving back. She had the capability and the knowledge base, and she ended up adopting this little boy. It was amazing. It was a really amazing story.
How old was he?
He was 8 or 9 years old. He was. So yeah. It just showed to me that it proved to me that any child is adoptable.
Yes.
No matter what their circumstances. And one of the things that we have to be a little bit careful about is that the pictures are so beautiful and cute that we try not to over. They can act. We have to be really honest in the bio about what the child is and parent is getting, so that there's not a disruption. So we just have to be really careful about that. We're really sensitive to that. We don't want families to think they're getting something that's not, not what they're getting. So
yeah, the candid marketing of this is, this beautiful child, and here are their needs,
right.
And this is the kind of parent or family that they need to be with. So I think that's so smart. It's so cool. So, and I love, because how old was the boy that you mentioned?
He was 8 or 9 years old. Yeah, it was really a miracle. I mean, I never, we just don't, and the fact that we, the photographer, took the pictures and we placed them up on I mean, a lot of the children have medical situations that are, really challenging. But to someone that, I remember talking to that adoptive mother, and I said, what prompted you? And she goes, well, I have this gift. I know how to take care of children that are disabled and non-communicative, and it's very rewarding for me. So wow,
it is. Man, you're bringing to mind, I had a former podcast guest, Pam. She also is a nurse, and her husband adopted a sibling group, and it's beautiful because nurses have such a special way to care for others and to help them heal and to help them become stable. So that's a cool story. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think another thing I wanted to mention real quick is with the Heart Gallery, because what happens is we'll put up a picture of a really cute kid. We'll get 200 inquiries. So the question is, only one family is going to adopt that child. Well, up to now, the other 190 inquiries have more or less been discarded. What we do is, we look at that differently. Those are 199 inquiries of interested parents that we can then, pivot to other kids, but also to pivot to do other things. So they might be volunteers, they might be photographers, they might help these kids with a luggage drive, they might help with, aging out, they might be a mentor. I mean, there's so many other ways to help. So, my whole thing is that when somebody comes in and they're interested, I mean, it's our job to capture them. And that's what's so exciting about some of the things that you have helped us with the Heart Gallery, with the education pieces. Everyone's in different stages, and they may not, they may just be looking, they may be one need some education, they may need help with the home study, they may need, so it's up to us to figure out how, what is it that they need, so we can help them on this journey and this path to get them to a finalized adoption.
Yeah, because you're right, it is a journey and a path, and I think something that might benefit our listeners as well is that they're thinking, okay, so Marcy, I'm going on the website, I'm falling in love with these kids, and that happens so often. And then to your point, like only one family gets the children. And so if you saw a profile and fell in love, like you might have to adjust and be okay looking at a different child or sibling group. And so I know for me, I remember seeing even like the news segments where they highlight a child and you're like, oh, I want to help. But then you don't realize when you kind of raise your hand, like, I want that to be me, or I want to step in this way, that there's this huge process between you actually doing that. Right.
Right. Exactly.
And so that, you need, even if you have your eye on a certain kid or sibling set, you have to go through your state's required training to foster and to adopt. So there's some training in there. And as Matthew mentioned, the home study. It's basically this long written document that your social worker would help craft based upon things you have to provide, responses, homework assignments. And it's more just being able to be aware of what you're getting into, right? Like how to be able to
Right.
parent children that the term often is used that come from hard places, right? So just, I want to encourage our listeners that there is a process, but that process doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's just the steps to get there. And so I'm excited that you've given people tools to go explore that. Like,
Right.
I've kind of wondered this. I wonder what kinds of kids that means. And so I love that you're bringing that literally to a screen in front of people in a very modern way. And so how then, I'm kind of going back to what you mentioned at the very beginning, Matthew, about social media. Are there places that if maybe someone wants to follow a heart gallery or share content, like are there ways to be helpful on a social media platform because
Well,
of the
yeah.
information shared?
All the heart galleries, for the most part, just go into Facebook or Instagram and search heart gallery, and you're going to see 20 to 30 of them pop up. So you just need to follow those, and then all the children that are new or coming up, all the photographs of the kids that are available are going to be on those websites. And obviously, if you have one local, that's even better. You can even contact them directly. So you can go to the heartgalleryamerica.org website, and then all of them, the heart galleries, are listed there. One thing I wanted to mention, just going back, is that this is serious business, adopting children, because you're really saving their life. The prospects for children that don't get adopted and age out is very, very poor. And one of the things that just broke my heart is that 70 to 80% of the girls that are trafficked, sex or human trafficked in the country, are out of the foster care and adoptive system. And that's just awful.
It is
So,
awful.
it just, that just is so disturbing to me that, here's these kids that are already, there's no fault of their own that they're in foster care, adoptive care. And here, people are taking advantage of them even further. It's just terrible.
It is terrible. And we can prevent that if we can get more
Exactly.
information out and find more
Right.
caring families.
Well, there's no reason. There's only 150,000 kids available for adoption. I mean, I know millions of parents that want to adopt, which it's what's in between and stopping that from happening.
Yeah.
That's what we have to stop.
Yeah. And that's part of why I'm excited to have you on, Matthew, because there's this space where people think, but I didn't know that foster care even offered an adoption path. And while you can foster and might end up adopting those children, which happens, the part that Matthew's talking about and that I'm very passionate about, and what I'm trying to bring awareness to about the forgotten adoption option, is that there are kids waiting in foster care that are legally just waiting for a forever family. And so it's just so amazing that you're able to convey that message to people and point them to where they can go plug in and help and get the word out. And so, Matthew, as we kind of wrap up here, I'd love to hear, you all have been around. You said your heart gallery was, what was it, 15 or 16 years old?
Right.
And so where do you see, you guys have kind of adapted with the virtual times, but what do you see happening in the next 1 to 5 years for the Heart Gallery of America?
Well, I mean, it's generally what happens is it's a kind of a heart gallery is kind of is a grassroots, and locally these are people that care, like yourself and others around, that want to help, and they start a heart gallery. And like a lot of these nonprofits, not just Heart Gallery, but a lot of nonprofits, the founder or the champion generally gets burned out after 5 years. So unless there's a succession plan, it's important to have a succession plan. And so my thing, we focus on that, who's going to pick up the ball, because we do have art galleries that are 15 plus years old, and they've been successful because they've got a board and they put together recruited other people that care and that are excited about it. And so that whole thing is important. So we're looking at succession plans, how do we do this and go forward? The other thing is we're leveraging technology, because we have the images, and we get thousands and thousands and thousands of inquiries a year across the country. And so we're looking at how we can do a better job of applying modern technology to manage those contacts, and then educate them and get them in a pipeline, and how do we keep them going and keep them staying excited about adoption going forward. So those are the challenges really that we see, because we see this as a solvable problem. We don't, this is solvable. We can get every kid adopted. So there's nothing stopping us from doing that. So we're, with the Facebooks and the Googles of the world and all this technology and contact management and educational tools. And the background check is like a 15-second activity now. Why are we not reducing the time that these kids are in care? Why aren't we getting these kids adopted faster? What's slowing us down? What's keeping them from being, languishing in the system? So those are the things that we're trying to get done. And we believe it's actually going to have to come from the top, which is really in Washington, D.C., with legislative impact, because that's where the funding comes from. And the funding is what dictates the policies and the bureaucracy. So.
But I love the vision, and I fully agree with you. And I think that's why both of us do the work that we do in this space, because it's like there is a solution to this, and it doesn't need to take so long. So I'm 100% with you on that. And this has been such a treat. I hope our listeners feel like they've learned something. I feel like they've been surprised, and I hope that they are feeling excited to go help in some way, whether that just means going on social and finding a heart gallery, whether it means going on the website and sharing the link with someone. I thank you, Matthew, for the kids that you have. You've reached so many children and helped prevent so much in their life because they have a family. And I know we both can share that we may never see and know who all those kids are, Matthew, but I am so proud of you. And I think all of our listeners just so appreciate the work that you're doing. So thank you for everything.
As a listener of the Forgotten Adoption Option podcast, you are helping raise awareness about foster care adoption and the 115,000 adoptable children in the United States. By leaving a review, subscribing, sharing, and talking about this podcast, you can help children and sibling groups find their forever family. If you'd like more information on adopting a child or sibling group through the foster care system, please visit my website, ForgottenAdoptionOption.com. There you will find how you can get started and even order a copy of my book for adults, The Forgotten Adoption Option, which will guide you through the entire process. You can also find my book for children of all ages, Are You a Forever Family? My books are available in paperback, audio, and ebook formats, and they might even be available at your local library. I welcome you to reach out to me with questions, comments, and your own adoption story. I would love to hear from you if you're signing up for licensing classes or to hear where you are in the foster care adoption process. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Just search for Marcy Bursack. I really appreciate you tuning in, caring, and sharing, because every child deserves a family.